All right, Mike and Mike in the morning on ESPN Radio and ESPN2. 2 weeks ago, for the first time, we dipped our toe into the waters of politics, although really only slightly. We had Senator John McCain on the program a couple of weeks ago, and our goal this year was to bring you the two presidential nominees and just sort of present a little different side of them, get them talking about sports, because we know both men are big fans of sports, and so it's our pleasure to welcome to Mike and Mike in the morning for the first time, Senator Barack Obama. Good morning, Senator. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great, Mike. Thanks for having me.
Glad to have you on, Senator. And I'm going to jump right into this. And I was going to go and talk about the financial crisis, and then I realized that I don't really know a whole lot about it. So I'm going to ask you instead, what do you think of the coaching job at Oregon State basketball right now?
I think one of the top up-and-coming coaches, I just want you to notice that the big upset against USC happened once they had hired Craig Robinson, who happens to be my brother-in-law.
And now the head basketball coach at Oregon State. Mike and Senator Obama, we all know that you've made your home now in Chicago for many years and are well known to be a White Sox fan. So your White Sox open in Tampa this afternoon. How confident do you feel?
Well, I tell you what, the way they won against the Twins was unbelievable. To see Griffey pull up and do what he did, and then Tomey, one of my favorite players, belt that one. It was a great game. Now, I got to admit, I'm a little worried about our pitching rotation right now. I have confidence in the kid, but you probably don't want to open your game with a guy who lost 12 games. So it's not optimal, but we're gonna make it happen. Let me ask you a question. Why do you have turf in Tampa?
Well,
does that make any sense to you?
They have a dome. I mean, they play it indoors. It doesn't make a lot of.
That's what I'm saying. Why would you have a dome? You're in Tampa, Florida, man.
Is it, sir? Isn't there something you can do about that?
Can you do anything about that?
I'm going to pass the law. I'm going to pass the law.
I was going to say, why are you asking us?
I'm going to pass the law. Unless you're in Minnesota or Wisconsin, you're not allowed to have a dome.
I would agree with that. I have no problem with that at all. How about the Cubs side of it? You a Cubs fan as well? Which between the two?
Well, you know what? I mean, I'm not a Cubs hater. I don't know if you know some White Sox fans. They threw parties after the whole Bartman thing. So I don't dislike the Cubs. If my White Sox were not in it, I would be rooting for the Cubs. I would love to see a crosstown series. I think I'm going to skip the last week of the presidential race if it's crosstown series. We're just going to be back in Chicago.
Okay.
I'll tell America, sorry guys, but I've got my priorities straight.
Mike and Barack Obama, sure. I'm sure the McCain campaign will pay no attention to that whatsoever. Which actually does bring up the perfect question,
yes.
The combination of the two, because the Cubs are playing tonight right around the same time as the vice presidential debate. So the question is, which one do you watch and which one do you TiVo?
Joe Biden might be listening, so I don't want to.
So you're going to go with the debate. I think that's a good way to go.
Absolutely.
On a serious note, with sports and the government, we've seen the congressional hearings with the performance-enhancing drugs. We've seen a bunch of players there. Then we saw the one with Roger Clemens there as well. We've seen Congress and the government getting involved with the sports and this situation. What's your thought on how much government should be involved with sports and with performance-enhancing drugs or anything involving sports?
I got to admit that seeing a lot of congressional hearings around steroid use is not probably the best use of congressional time. I would have my attorney general investigate the possibility of instituting a college football playoff system through executive order. I think that because I'm tired of this. I'm tired of this nonsense at the end of every college football season.
Thank you.
But beyond that, seriously, kids are watching sports. They're modeling themselves on their athletes. When you start reading about kids who are getting 13 years old, 14 years old, they're starting to take steroids. It's a serious problem, but it's one that you want to see the leagues themselves handle in a more appropriate way. We've got nuclear weapons and a financial meltdown to worry about. We shouldn't be worrying about steroids as much as I think sometimes we do.
Mike and Senator Barack Obama with us here on ESPN Radio and ESPN2. So let's talk about the role that sports played in your life growing up. A very interesting background in your young life. What role did sports play in your life, and who were some of your sports heroes growing up?
You know, I mean, it was critical to me. I didn't have a dad at home, and you know, so when I think about growing up and kind of figuring out what it meant to be a man, you know, being on the basketball court, playing sports, you know, learning about competition, learning about teamwork, it was big for me. It was important. And, you know, I was growing up late 70s, so you're talking Dr. J, you're talking the Steel Curtain, because we didn't have a football team in Hawaii. You know, Cincinnati Reds were, you know, that's my era. You guys remember the Superstars?
Oh, the Superstar competition? Oh, absolutely,
yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Man, that was played in my high school. They'd come out to Hawaii, and so you know, I'd have a chance to play pickup games with Johnny Bench and Too Tall Jones, and you know, so it was a lot of fun. But sports continues to be central in my life, and when I think about, you know, what's best in America, it's you know, when we've got good sports competition. It's what ties us together.
You know, you talk about growing up with not having a father around. Did you have an athlete as a role model? You know, I'm going off, you know, what Charles Barkley said, athletes shouldn't be role models. There's been a debate on that a little bit. Should kids be looking up to athletes at times, trying to emulate them? And because a lot of times, unfortunately, they're let down by some things that go on. Do you think it's a good idea for the youth of America to use athletes as role models?
Well, I don't think it's optimal. I think your dad should be your role model. Your mom should be your role model. Your family. On the other hand, look, I didn't have a dad in the house, so you know, when I think about, I'll give you an example. A guy like Arthur Ashe, you know, who was not the greatest tennis player ever, but the guy was such a class act that, you know, as a kid, I'd watch that guy and I'd say to myself, you know, it seems to me that he has something that goes beyond sports, that he's conducting himself in a way that, you know, shows he cares about other people and is respectful and has dignity. You know, that made a big difference to me.
Mike and Senator Barack Obama is with us, and certainly the one question everyone here at ESPN wants answered, just how good a basketball player is Stuart Scott? Because, I mean, we saw you playing with him, and, you know, he talks a very big game.
Yes, he does.
So the question is just how good was Stu?
All I would point out is after 3 hours sleep and campaigning for about 10 days straight, I think the score was 7-1. So I'll let you draw your own conclusions there.
Oh, wow!
A little smack talk.
So you schooled him, is basically what you're saying.
I'm just reporting. It's just a fact.
Well, and also you're a guy that likes to shoot a little hoop on voting day. So when there's a little something going on November 4th, you're going to shoot a little hoop that day as well.
No doubt about it. When on election day, you got to have a game. And you know, the nice thing is I have a whole bunch of guys, you know, who I've played with. You know, guys who played with me in high school. I've got my guy Reggie Love, you know, from Duke, and a couple other guys, and so they're willing to fly in, and we get a good pickup game going. And I haven't been playing lately because I figure if I show up with a broken nose or a missing tooth during the debate, that might not be so good. But I figure on election day it's too late. By that time, everybody will have made up their mind, so it doesn't matter if I get hurt.
But I mean, seriously, if you're playing with some people and you step in to take a charge, is anybody running you over? I mean, are they going to actually run you down?
Oh, absolutely. You know, that's the thing about playing with guys you know, right? Because you know, they know that I will talk a lot of stuff if I beat them. So as a consequence, they don't take it easy on me.
Yeah, we got someone from the Secret Service take a charge for you. I think that would work out really well. Senator Barack Obama, listen, we wish you nothing but the greatest success. Thank you so much for a few minutes of your time this morning. Really, we appreciate it, and best of luck as you go through to November 4th.
Guys, I had a great time. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator.
There he is, Senator Barack Obama. 2 weeks ago, we had Senator McCain. We tried to make it about exactly the same time. I think it was within 30 seconds of being the same amount of time that we did in our interest. Again, we were this is something new for us this year, doing this with both of these gentlemen, and we know them both to be big sports fans.
Exactly.
And I thought that went real well.
Yeah.
As I thought it went with McCain as well.
We don't hit the political side of this because the greatest thing I got out of this, as soon as we go to break, I'm calling Stuart Scott.
Well, maybe he have to, in the interest of fairness,
we may have to get Stu on the phone.
We got to put Stewart on.
I think so.
And I think the other thing we discovered is that while he doesn't want to admit it, he's going to watch the baseball tonight and not the vice presidential debate.
He's TiVoing that.
A lot there to react to. We will next. Mike and Mike in the morning.
SportsCenter right now on ESPN Radio.